Welcome back from break, and thanks to Kate for helping us today in this class. Let's just take a moment to settle back in, take a few deep breaths. We're going to shift from our work from before break into some different work after break. All right. So we're going to do an experiment today. Really, it's more of a model. So when I say model, we're going to be using some coins to figure out the probability that Ocean and Lucy will have the kind of offspring that we saw in the story. So today we are going to be working in pairs, and or you can, if there's an odd number of students, you can work solo. One person can work solo, and they just need 2 coins. So one person is going to toss a coin for Ocean, and the other person will toss for Lucy. So you should have, there's a cup of pennies, which we'll pass out in a minute, not yet, where you'll be tossing the coin to determine heads or tails, which gene is passed on to the offspring. Now, the assignment is on Google Classroom, so go ahead and open up your Chromebooks and open up the assignment called Gene Combo. It should have posted already. So let's pause for a moment and go ahead and do that. All right, once you have it up, let's go ahead and read the first paragraphs together, and then we'll look at what we're going to be doing in this experiment. So it says, you've explored 3 hypotheses to explain the critter breeding data. So that was in your Edpuzzle. Several scientific terms will help you talk about your models for how tail color is passed from parents to their offspring. So in critters, there are 2 possible tail colors. You either have an orange or a blue. There's no orange and blue spots. There's no blending of those 2 to make brown. These 2 versions of tail color, blue tail and orange tail, are called traits. And we learned about that earlier this term. Which trait a critter has for tail color depends on the version of the gene that it gets from its parents. So different versions of the same gene are called alleles. So that is the vocabulary word, and it's pronounced alleles, even though it looks like alleles or something. So tossing coins is one way to model how genes are passed from parent to offspring, because actually it's random, right? You don't get to choose if you get brown eyes or blue eyes. It's random what color eyes are passed down and which gene you get. So all of Sky and Poppy's offspring, including Ocean and Lucy, they have blue tails. So to explore why some of their offspring have orange tails, we are going to model the inheritance of alleles for tail color to the 3rd generation offspring. So it's sort of like when we build that family tree, but we're going to flip coins to see if our results actually meet and match what we saw in the hypotheses. So if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a procedure. So we're going to be using a coin tossing model. So each person is going to have a coin. One person is going to flip the coin for Ocean, and one person is going to flip the coin or toss the coin for Lucy. So in order to know why we're using this and how we're going to do this, go ahead and read the coin tossing model, A, B, C, and D, and with your partner, make a summary of those 4 parts and type it in the yellow boxes. Now, if you haven't already gotten in partners, go ahead and do that now. You can choose someone at your table, or you can move to another part of the room and you can work with them today. Just a quick note that we're going to talk a little bit more before we start tossing the coins. So make sure everybody finishes question 1 before we move on to the next thing. All right, now that you've summarized the coin tossing model, some things that you probably have noticed or things that you've learned is that when you flip a coin, you're flipping a coin to see which gene Ocean or Lucy will pass down. So let's say I'm flipping the coin for Ocean. I have both the genes for heads, which is blue, right? That's like a blue chip or a blue gene. Or the option for tails of orange. So it's a 50-50 chance that as Ocean, I could pass down a blue gene or I could pass down an orange gene. So that's why we flip a coin. Same is true for Lucy. So Lucy has the same genes. She has one blue and one orange, and that's why it's a 50-50 chance that she'll pass down the blue or the orange. So, and then when we put them together, we have some symbols that we use. And so if you scroll down a little bit to the table in your Google Doc, you'll see that anytime you get flip a heads, anytime you get a heads after the coin toss, heads equals blue gene, and that is represented by a big T. That may not make sense because you're like, wait, it's heads. But T stands for tail color, not for tails. Anytime you get a tails during a flip, that is represented by a lowercase t, and that is an orange tail gene. So you'll go through this process and then you will fill out the table, and then you'll try to figure out, well, which ones, what if I flipped a tail and my partner flipped a tail? So basically that's little t, little t. Well, that means that the offspring will have an orange tail because blue is dominant. And what dominant means is you only need one copy, only one version for the tail to be blue. So any of these other combinations, so big T, little t, which would mean what if somebody flips a heads and the other person gets a tails, you'll still have a blue tail. The other little t, big T, or big T, big T, all of those options will give you blue tails for your offspring. So now go ahead and you're going to do this. Make sure you follow the procedure. It says to cup your hands, and it has you shake your hands a certain number of times and then drop it from a certain height. And it's important that we all do it that way because at the end, we're going to combine all of our data and see if our results match what happened in the story. At this stage, you should be flipping your coins, tossing your coins, and recording data. And so you'll do 10 total tosses, and then you can start on some of your analysis questions. To fill out this, you need to count up the number of times you got these different combinations, and then the tail color and your totals. In order to fill out the class totals and the ratio of those class totals, you'll need to wait for everyone in the class to finish collecting their data. So while you do that, you're welcome to start on the homework assignment posted on Google Classroom. And then once everybody is finished tossing, you can share the data and fill these out. Once you have the class data, you'll see from the other quest, we had 60 blue and 20 orange tail offsprings. What we did is just take a ratio. We took 60 to 20, and we just reduced that. So we sort of like reducing a fraction that went down to 6 to 2, and 6 to 2 can be reduced again to 3 to 1. So our ratio of blue to orange was 3 to 1, which is very similar to what we got in the story. For the offspring, there were 3 blues for every 1 orange. And so for your class data might be different, but go ahead and do that and then work on the analysis questions. When you're finished with the analysis questions, you can click turn in, and then for the rest of the time, you can work on some options that I'll post on the screen. For the rest of the class today, here are the options for working. You can continue to work on gene combo until you finish all of the questions, then click turn in. If you didn't finish the Edpuzzle from the first half of class, make sure you do that. Of course, do the exit ticket. That's due at midnight tonight. Check the assignment tracker. I've updated it, so see if you're if you have any missing or incomplete assignments. And finally, you can work on Show Me the Genes, which is your homework. So all of that is available to you for the rest of the class. And if you have any questions, always email me. I'll be checking my email through today.